Morning, Junior 4. Hope all of you are okay. Now let's start a new concept, which is concept 4, lesson 1, energy and collisions. This concept is talking about when any two objects start to hit each other. So we will study how the both objects can be damaged or how the two objects can be affected by different ways, okay? So now let's start our concept. What happens to objects when they collide with each other? And we said that collide means to hit each other, okay? When an object as a truck hits another object as a car, so now we have two objects. One of them is truck and the other is a car. So we will observe that when these both two objects start to hit each other, so we studied before that the transfer for sure will, the energy, for sure will transfer from one object to another object. Also here that will do, the energy is transferred when the two objects hit each other or collide with each other. But we will find that the damage of each one of them will be different, which means that now we have truck and car. So we will find that in case of the truck, so due to its for sure faster, heavier, so the damage will be less. But in case of the car will be lighter and slower than the truck. So we will find that the faster and heavier object has more energy and also at the same time causes more damage than the slower and lighter object that has less energy. Okay, so now we understand that if we have two objects, one of them for sure will be faster and heavier, but the other will be slower and lighter. So what has the object that has faster, so it will be with high speed, so it will be with high kinetic energy, and that's with high mass, so it will be with high potential energy. So this means that the object will have, or the object will have higher energy, whatever the type of energy. And we said that this energy started to transfer from one object to another object. So the damage of the objects will change from one object to another depending on the speed, the mass, and at the same time, the energy that we start with, and for sure, how the energy can transfer, okay? Now we have some examples about the collision between any two objects to can understand or to can differentiate between how the effect can be changed from one object to another object. So now let's start with the first example, which is the breaking ball. Breaking ball is something like that you can see in front of you. It's a very heavy ball which used to distribute or knock down the walls or parts of the building. Okay, instead of we make it manual, if we need to knock down large buildings, so we will use this object to help us to do that. Okay, so wrecking ball, it's a very heavy steel pole that swing on a cable. Number two, the wrecking ball is used to collide with walls of building to help construction workers to construct or to knock down the walls or parts of the buildings, okay? So we will find that the energy here also will transfer from the wrecking ball to the building or to the object that we need to construct or knock down, okay? So it's the first example, and for sure, due to the wall with fast energy and high mass, so the damages that cause will be high. So we use this object to start to knock down the walls or to construct the buildings, okay? The second example, when we started to play tennis ball. Now we will find that this girl has a pad, hold a pad, this girl starts to hold a pad. Pad, it's a wooden object used to hit the tennis ball to can play, okay? So let's start to answer this small evaluate to can make sure that all of you are understanding what I said. Look at this picture, then complete the sentence by using these words. Different kinetic increase. Number one, the pole transfer its dot's energy to the pole. So due to the pole move, so it will be transfer its kinetic, okay? To the pole. I'm sorry, the pads here, okay? The pad will transfer its kinetic energy to the pole. Number two, when the pad hits the pole will move in a dot's direction, so it will be move in different direction. Because at the first, it's in the direction of the girl. Once the girl starts to hit by using the wooden pad, so the pole will change its direction in different direction, in the opposite direction, okay? Or in different directions in general. Number three, the speed of the pole, when the pad hits it. The speed of the pole will for sure increase. Why? Because it will take part, so it will be increased. So because it will take part of this kinetic energy to have, okay? Now let's start with the third example, which is talking about a popular game which is called cricket, okay? What is the cricket? Cricket, it's a popular game all over the world. In cricket, the players use something called wooden pad, okay, to start to also hit the ball. So it's something similar to the idea of work for the tennis. We will depend on hit the ball by using wooden pad, okay? The cricket player holds a pad and moves it as the ball comes towards him at high speed to collide with the pad. So at the same time, some of the kinetic energy from the pad will transfer to the ball, and at the same time, the ball started to change its direction in different ways after hit it. And also, the speed of the ball will increase due to the hit or after hit, okay? What happens to the energy of the moving pad when it hits the moving pole? Number one, the pole transfers its kinetic energy to the pole. Number two, the speed of the pole increases due to it absorb or take extra energy, okay? And it will be for sure kinetic energy due to the motion. So kinetic energy is related to speed, so it will increase for sure. And the ball return back in a different direction. We said that return back, so it will be in different directions. This collision produces a popping sound, and the player would feel the bat hitting the ball. If we started to hit the ball, so you feel the touch between the pad and the ball, or the hit between the ball and the pad, okay? And at the same time, sometimes we start to sound or to hear a popping sound due to the collision or the hitting, okay? Now let's start to solve this small evaluation. During the collision between a pole and a pad, the direction of the pole will not change. We said no, it will be changed in opposite direction because it will return back. During the collision between a pole and a pad, the kinetic energy transfer from the pad to the pole, it will be correct. Because we said that some of the kinetic energy will transfer from the pad to the pole, okay? Okay. Now, what happens to the driver body when the car stops suddenly? Junior 4, we studied before in concept 3 that we have a concept which is called speed. And we said that the speed means that the object in motion. By the way, when we start to drive our cars or be inside the transportations in general, we feel that our energy or our speed is zero. Why? Because we feel that we are stuck, we aren't move, we are constant, but unfortunately it isn't true. Because when we started to drive the car or be inside the transportation, we start to take the same speed of the transportation where we inside. So if we drive a car with a speed 60 kilometers per hour, so we also has a speed which is 60 kilometers per hour. So we can say that our speed is zero because we feel that we don't move. No, our speed will be has the same value of the transportation where we inside. Okay. What is the evidence of this speed? If we start to be inside the car and the driver started to stop the car suddenly, this means that the speed of the car will start to decrease or to be zero suddenly, without slowly or without gradually. Okay, so if we already have a speed zero, so we don't move. Why? Because we already zero and the car becomes zero, so we become equal. But in case of this way, when the driver started to stop the car suddenly, we feel that we started to move. Forward, then backward. Why? Because we also started to take the same speed of the car. We start with the car at a speed 60 kilometers per hour, and both of us, the car and the person, start to make their speed zero suddenly. Okay, so they started to make safety equipment to make the driver and the passengers in their places are safe. So we will use what? We need to, or now we will study just two from the safety equipment. Number one, something called seat belts, something like that, like this girl put, okay? It's called seat belts. They are used in cars to keep the driver and also the passengers from moving forward when the car stops suddenly. So seat belts have saved thousands of lives. So it's something so important. So it's one of the very important rules that we have to follow it when we start to drive the car or be inside any form of the transportation. We have to use the seat belts of the cars to help us to avoid the forward and backward when we start to stop suddenly. And also at the same time, we have another way or another equipment, which is the airbags. What's meant by airbags? Airbags made up of thin nylon materials fluted into the steering wheel seats, and it has something like doors, okay? And at the same time, it has something like the holes, okay? Idea of operation during a crash, airbag automatically inflate means start to filled with specific air automatically when sensors in the cars detect a crash. A sensor tells the airbag to inflate and fill with a gas to provide a soft cushion, okay? After collision, the airbags deflect almost as fast as they inflate because they have holes to allow them to deflect so the driver can get out of the car. So what happens? At the first, we started to drive, then our speed started to increase slowly until it reached to a specific value. Then we started to crash, so the speed will decrease suddenly from this high value to the zero. So there is a specific sensors inside the cars started to detect that we have an accident or we have a crash. So it started to send specific messages to the place of the airbags to alarm it to start to do inflat, and inflat here means to start to fill or start to become large, okay? Started to fill with a specific gases to make it as a softening cushion, so it will prevent the accident or prevent it to hit our face in front of the what in front of us inside the car. After that, once it makes sure that your face started to hit the airbag, so it makes sure that you will go back. So you will be away from this tableau. So it started to deflect or start to be in flat, and it will be deflate, I'm sorry, and it will be very fast also due to in the back side of this airbag we will find that there are a lot of holes, and these holes started to get out the air or the gas to can see clearly what in front of us and can get out of the car easily. Okay, so the idea of operation: airbags slow the speed of the driver moving forward, and airbag absorb the energy of the car due to its collision, so it will reduce the damage of the car. Okay, so airbag and seat belts, both of them are very important. Seat belt are used in the ordinary time, so we can use it once we started to drive the car or once we become inside the car. Okay, but airbags start to appear. Airbags start to appear in case of there is a crash or an accident. Collision between trains and cars. I think maybe most of us can see this accident before. The train started to move in its path, and he and after that the driver found that there is a car or any transportation started to hit it or start to suck on the path of it, so they make an accident, and it will be one of the most dangerous accident because we now started to compare between two objects. One of them is very high and move with a very large speed, and the other with slower and lighter. So the damage of the train to the cars will be very high due to the variety between the two objects. So there are many accidents in which a train hits a car that may stuck on the train tracks. Trains are much larger than cars. Also, trains travel at higher speed than cars, so it is more dangerous as the force of the collision between the cars and the trains increases. Okay, now let's start to solve this small evaluation. From safety equipments, of course, during collision are seat belts and airbags. Airbags are made up of nylon material, okay? So it will be made of nylon material. It will be lighter to can fill with the gas and start to exhaust this gas easily, okay? In cars, what protect the passengers during collision where they inflate automatically when sensors in the cars detect a crash, so it will be here airbag. Okay. Thank you, Junior, and see you next session, inshallah.